Hi love, welcome to this all about love tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to braid the word love in hair. So I started off by sectioning like a rectangle or the space where I want the love to fit in. So after getting the four corner, you can see the size of the bar. I proceed to make the letter L. So I am sectioning off letter L just like this. So I made the straight part and then now the lower part. You can first of all watch how I braided, because I have braided all the alphabets from A to Z. You can watch for the 4 videos of LOVE individually to make this thing very clear, because I explained each letter very well. Or you can just watch this if you're not a beginner. So now I am sectioning off letter O on top of on top of L, and now this is the top part of letter V. When I'm done with the top part, then I will just make the slanted second side with only this angle, leaving the side with the letter O. Okay, you get what I mean? Then I put it away. Don't worry, we are going to come back to each of these letters individually. Of course we are. So now for letter E, I'm just going to section off like a slightly slanted rectangle, just a box for now. So that's going to be like where letter E is going to fit into, or the space it will take. If you watch those videos where I braided all those things individually, I explained why and how everything looks like this. So now we have our space for LOVE. I'm going to start braiding from letter O, and now I am biting into, because remember the letter O is on top of letter L, but I am going to round off the bottom part of letter O, even though it is going to bite into the L. Okay, so after doing that, I shear letter O into 2 equal parts, and I am going to braid it round just like this. Okay, just like that. So ideally, if you're braiding a human being's head, you will stand up and go around, but this mannequin, I can just bend her head. I still don't want you to get confused about the angle, so I bent the head. Ideally, I should be standing up and bending over the person's head, right? So now you're just going to braid round the way I pointed my finger. I am going to braid round and keep going round. If your alphabet is bigger, like the space you're braiding love in is bigger, then you would want to braid towards the outer part of the letter and then make the inner part like a brush. If you watch that video, I think you actually should watch those individual videos, then you will understand why and how it makes it look better. So when I was done, I used a latch hook to connect these 2 pieces together so that the O will be complete, just like this. Now we are going to braid letter L. I can see the mistake I made offhand. You see that tiny piece is up there. I should have made the L longer than, like higher than letter O. The beginning part where I am braiding now should have been longer. I think because I made it equal, after brushing the hair, like that space before the braid started made the O look like it is way shorter than the L, like it made it not so obvious. So if you can make your L slightly longer than the O, it is going to make it look better. In short, if you can even make it bigger self, I think it is going to make it look better, especially because I sectioned off some part of L into O to make it curvy, so it reduced the size of my L. So if I were to do this again, I would consciously make the letter L to be bigger than others in the first instance before I start twisting away each of these sections. Like this part I am taking down now of the V, before I put it away that first time, I would make L to be way bigger than the rest of the other letters, so that when I cut out some part of it to round off the L, to round off the O, it is not going to affect the size of the letter L. I'm just saying this to say my L is slightly smaller than the rest of the alphabet of O, V and E, as you will see. Please don't get confused. I bent this mannequin head over. So you would ideally stand and go to the person's front to braid the V. Like you braid down, go to the other side, and then braid upwards. Again, I still think you should watch those alphabets L, O, V, and E, where I made their videos individually. Now for letter E, remember we sectioned off like a slightly slanted rectangle, right? So to cut out the long section of letter E, I took off about 1/3 of that size. Then the remaining 2/3 I shared into these 3 pieces you can see here. So the first 1/3 goes from up to down, and the remaining 2/3 I now shared from left to right into 3 pieces. I braided the middle part first so that it would come and join like the straight long part, and then I started braiding the topmost part next. Now when I get to the edge, I'll turn down and braid all the way downwards. When I get to where this middle one is, I just pick it in, add it into the braid and continue. Try not to grab hair from the last third piece down. Make sure it is on its own, just the way I did. When you braid all the way to the end, then you you turn and then braid into the third piece, just like this. Again, if this thing is confusing at all, then you are not a pro yet. You really should watch that video, like the introduction to braiding alphabets for beginners, so that your love can come out better than mine. Now that I am done, it's time to find where to incorporate the tails of the braid. In those individual videos, I showed you options of like sewing the hair over the letter again, or incorporating the tails into your braid. So we played around with it and just decided to tack it with needle and thread before incorporating the tails into the rest of our braids. But I think it like the option I later went with reduced the how obvious the love is, because I had many hairs just surrounding the love even in the braid. If I were to do this differently, I would, let's see, what would I do differently? Yeah, maybe you will see the way I used the tail of letter L to form like a line, like as if I underlined the word love. I wouldn't have done that because when I finished off the lemonade braid, I then had several braids still running under the word love. So it made it look like it had several underlining going on, and that reduced how obvious the word love is. So maybe I would tack L to O, and then just when I continue the lemonade braid, I would braid from like the forehead, passing underneath love, and then incorporate E at the point, then later incorporate the tail of L also, just going backwards towards the other ears, just like a lemonade braid. If you want to learn how to braid lemonade braid, I made a separate video. Like in this tutorial, I just cut out how I made love because it is a whole video on its own. But if you want to learn how to make lemonade braid and how I completed the whole hairstyle, then the video is already up on my channel. You can watch how to make lemonade on. I demonstrated it on a mannequin so that it will be easy for you to translate to someone's hair. So that's it. I just use needle and thread to look at the braid and just figure out where I want to tack so that it doesn't move and lift and look like another word in the course of wearing the hair. So with that, I felt like I was done. See, I shouldn't have even tacked this V to E. Can you see? It now made the underlining obonge. It made it very obvious. And anyway, this is our first trial. I believe the next time I'll be braiding love on the hair. Maybe if it's now like a client, I am trying it on. It is going to be very lovely. So, well, this is this. Now I just have to continue the hairstyle, and I am going to just rush through it and show you how I incorporate the tail of the braids into the rest of the hairstyle, like the tails of LOVE, whichever one is left, into the remaining hairstyles. But if I was making this like for a child and I have like a different hairstyle like this, the tail of letter E can just be beaded and left to dangle by the side. Just be creative with this and don't feel like you have to make it like mine. Be open to anything that can come up, because as I said, you can see I have things that I would have done differently. So obviously I'm not a pro like he looks. I am still learning and I hope to get way better at making this. So please leave your mind open and just try. In case you come up with something and you want to let me see, please tag me on Instagram. My handle is in the description, it'll be in the description bar. It's Chi Hair Diaries, just like my YouTube channel, but with hair in it, Chi Hair Diaries. And I will love to see it and repost it in my stories and community posts. But now this is just me completing the lemonade hairstyle. And again, I have already braided letters, all the alphabet from A to Z. I have videos on how to make them, so if you want to create any word at all, as far as it can fit onto the scalp of the person, the head, then you are good to go. If you just want like your initials, I have again all the letters. Now I also braided all the numbers like from 0 to 9. So if you have like your child's birthday or like a sports competition that they have a special number, or an anniversary, just whatever you want to do, you of course have, you can just learn one of those numbers and incorporate just the number or the numbers, like an 11th, a 10th birthday, you can just incorporate number 10 in the hair. It might be cheesy to an adult, but for kids that's the most fun thing ever. So if you want to braid butterfly to your hair, I have tutorials on that. If you want to braid braided heart, not the word love, now the shape of heart, I have up to 10 videos where I've done that both on clients and teaching it on a mannequin. If you want to braid flowers, I have made several tutorials on that. So these hair designs, if you want to braid dollar sign, bitcoin sign, just check my channel. I promise you will see some interesting things you can do if you just want to add some fun or flair to your braids, especially for children. Like that's my obsession, making designs that will make girls just so excited to want to make their hair. That's the condition, that's the spirit my clients come with for the kids. They are just so excited because they know they will be living with an interesting design. Like, that's the whole point. So you can see the way you choose to accessorize your hair can give it a different look or a different vibe. As you can see, I just tried both the string with different colors. You can use just one color, you can use the gold claps. Thank you for watching, guys. Bye.